All right, let's take a look at this log file that I've pulled off of a server. And the first question is, this log file gets rotated every week, so it's not huge, but how big is it? So in the number of days that we're looking at, which is probably less than half a week, it's got 42,000 entries, and that's easily small enough that I'm just willing to go look at it. And what I'm interested in is actually the number of users out there. So we're interested in the lines that have invalid user. This is people attempting to log into my server that aren't authorized to log into my server. Since this machine, I'm the only person in the world that should be logging in, you should never see invalid user FL. So let's use grep on this. And okay, we got a bunch of invalids, and how many did we get? We got just over 1,000 in half a week, so I'm probably getting around 2,000 a week is the most likely value there. And what are those users? If we could send this to a file, or we could actually just print out the username from this. It looks to me like I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe, over. And we have this awk tool that does really nice at printing columns. And hopefully I get the right column. That doesn't look like it. Looks like it's 8 over. That looks better. So now we have a way to get the users. Now, the first thing I'm going to want to do with these users is sort them and get a profile. So let's actually pipe this through sort, and we'll have a sorted list of usernames. And if we look at it, we see that, yeah, there's an awful lot that have admin. Again, I'm going to want to use unique on it. And have unique actually count the number of occurrences. And I find out that there is 122 admins, but this is not in number of order for occurrences. So what I really want is to send that through sort minus n, so I get it in increasing order. And the ones are at the top, and the most common is looking for an admin or other things. Now, as a security person, I might want to ban the use of the term admin as a username. Ubuntu, Oracle, guest. I mean, it gets pretty obvious, even looking at 1 week's worth of data, that there are some usernames that we just shouldn't have in there that people can log into. So here's a quick convert a log file into useful data. Now, if I were to be somebody that wanted to attack a system, not that I would ever do that, and do penetration testing, I might, for instance, want a list of, say, 10 million usernames to try. And instead of being on the security side, I'm going to do penetration testing. And if I take my list of users, I can reduce that to 10 million usernames to try, and I can find out which ones are the most commonly used. But here we go on both sides of usernames, profiling it, using it, and also going into a log file and saying, by golly, this is where my security vulnerabilities lie. So a little grep, a little awk to print out a column name, or column by number. Sort, unique, sort, that's a pretty common pattern actually, is that sort, unique minus c, sort to reduce data. Now, there are all sorts of other things that you can use at the command line to manipulate and work with your data. We can do something that is statistical, like using R as a statistical package. We can use GNU plot to get graphs, and I'll show you both of those in a second. But there are all these tools, and when we start combining them together, suddenly they become incredibly powerful. Now, one of those tools that mystified me for the longest one was a thing called T-E-E, and it's a pipe fitting tool. It's kind of like T's and pipes. So the nice thing about T is that you can stick it in the middle of something. Like, I really want my data out of this pipe at this point, so I can say TE, and I'll just stick it in the temporary file name, comma 1. T allows me to take the input, write it to some other file, and then it takes the input and sends it on to the next location in the pipe. So it literally makes a T in your processing, so I can go in my thing, I'm debugging it and trying to figure out what's going on after that sort. I can look at COM1 and say, yeah, that looks like the right thing. Or I can, in the middle of a pipe, extract some data that I'm going to use in a different way. So T provides a unique capability in hunting things down. It's also really useful if I have a slow pipe. Like, remember that when I did the grep for all of the things that started with row in my 10 million users, that was kind of slow. I might want to not do that grep multiple times, and I might want to use the data multiple times in multiple different ways. So I can take a T, save it in a temporary file, and then turn around and apply that to a different set of processing.